My brother should be doing the intro. Go for it, Ralph.
Good morning, good afternoon, and welcome to Cannon Fodder TV. As you can see, it's Raz calling from Cardiff. Cardiff is not too bad, too shaky weather-wise. And then we've got Ajax. So I like to call my brother Ajax rather than Alex, because Alex sounds a bit posh for him, really. I always call him Ajax.
Yes, you see what I've got to put up with. You see what I've got to put up with, people. Yeah. Welcome back. Actually, Monday evening show, and because there's more important things to be doing in life than podcasting, we try and take all the opportunities that we can to be live together on the channel. A big shout out to In the North Bank, Paul and Richard yesterday for the big Sunday show. It was a really good show they did yesterday. I don't think my brother watched the majority of it, but it was really good.
I'm gonna catch up.
There you go. So if you're just watching and thinking, what? Big Sunday show, check it out on the platform. But we're here, we're live on a Monday evening. We've got 3 parts of a whole. We're gonna be talking about Emile Smith Rowe, Raul Sanllehi, some comments about the manager, and the North London Derby. The North London Derby, my brother will be talking about that. See you guys on the other side of this music intro. Yes, indeed. Welcome back to Cannon Fodder, the channel for Arsenal fans all over this world. Monday evening show. Early evening show over here. But what you guys can do before we get into this one is make sure that you do subscribe. It says it somewhere down there. And come into the live chat. Somewhere on my right, feel like a weatherman now, there is the live chat. Come in the live chat somewhere over here. Yeah. I don't know. I keep getting confused, man. Right. How you been, man?
I've been good. I've been really busy with work. I had a really nice break with my daughter in the States. And I've just got some more photos from when we went to one of the buildings called of the Rock in the real building. We was pretty much not far from Times Square, really. That was really good as a nice reminder. So my daughter's already planning to go next year, so I'm gonna have to put some more hours in. But yeah, work has been busy. I do other various things as well, projects, and it's good to catch up. Just saying to Alex earlier today about this European football thing that England is partially almost out of. I know actually England's playing tonight. They're playing tonight
against.
So I don't have much hope for them in Germany if it's in Germany. I think it's a bit of a waste of time, if I have to be honest, because we've got a World coming up very soon, and that's going to impact on players and fixtures and all that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, other than that, I've been good, to be honest. I've been good. I've been like a little run. I just hope that it continues. But as you said, we'll go into it a bit later on.
Absolutely, yeah. So anyway, good to see you back, man. Good to see you back. I feel a little bit redundant, man. I mean, we've got there's some, I'd say breaking news. I'll say it's breaking news, but we're going to break that news maybe some early next week. Other segments are going to be coming up live on the channel. We've got the big Sunday show, of course, on a Sunday, and there's going to be something coming up on a particular Thursday. But I can't spill the beans just yet because we've still got to put some things together. But I'm excited for the channel. Really, really excited for the channel. Things are slowly coming together. It sounds a bit weird because we've been doing the channel for almost 5 years, Ralph.
Yeah,
almost 5 years. TV, man. Yeah. You know what I mean? But yeah, moving in the right direction. But anyway, let's get into the news of today. Now, I know I'm a little bit late on this one. Emile Smith Rowe. I mean, I'm quite concerned about Smith Rowe. Mikel Arteta frustrated by Emile Smith Rowe's issue that's holding back the Arsenal star. Mikel Arteta concerned by the injury problems that continues to hamper Emile Smith Rowe's season. The midfielder has only made 4 substitute appearances this term, with no starts yet coming this way after the pre-season. Those were interrupted by injury setback. Smith Rowe looked to have aggravated his fitness woes when warming down after the defeat against Man United earlier this month, or last month actually. It has left Arteta once again bemoaning his players' problems, with which has meant he's been unable to put all the training in together on one session. Now it looks as if Arsenal Academy graduate may have to undergo surgery if he is fine to rid the issue. Now the Gunners boss said, I'm concerned about the fact that we won't have him available when he's been trying to train. He's not been feeling 100% fit or pain-free. This is the main concern, and we have to find a solution to that. We're trying to do just that. Ralph, your thoughts about Smith Rowe, man? Your thoughts. Your thoughts.
You know what? I am frustrated that I mean, I feel for him. But training, was it like a warming down part of the procedure of training? We seem to be picking up more injuries after the match than before the match. And actually, no, I think that's wrong. Again, injuries before the match starts and after the match ends with our subs and our players who haven't participated fully in the match completely. I don't know what it is with Arsenal players. It's something that keeps on happening time again. I've never known a squad go fully into any with the squad healthy, as it were. You know, we always say about competition for places, but at the same time, Mikel Arteta must be pulling his hair out because the team's bubbling up in the right way, and all of a sudden one of his key players is injured, and it makes everybody, I suppose, a bit more exposed now. And squad. We talk about squad depth and everything else. It's squad depth is going to be impinged again, and what happens, God forbid, if it goes to one of our key players. I think it's time to start giving players that's been sat on the bench some game time, because it's going to come to times when we're going to be playing against the other big teams. We need to front up. We can't front up if our key players are missing.
You know what came to mind, Ralph? We did a poll. It's not the first time we did a poll about Thomas Partey. And if you don't know what's happened, he was taken off. Actually, he didn't was taken off. He didn't. I think he felt a problem with his knee. So the Ghanaian doctors didn't want to chance him playing against Brazil. And I've been saying for the longest time, players are no use to us. It's obvious players are no use to us. No matter how well or how respected they are when they do play, they're no use to us if they're always injured. So I've been saying about Thomas Partey that maybe we need to talk about him, selling him. But I'm looking at Emile Smith Rowe, and it's got nothing to do with liking the player. Again, you can't have your cake and eat it too. If Emile Smith Rowe is also always injured, he's also no use to us. So do we have to ask the question about Emile Smith Rowe? If he's always injured, then we might need to think about selling Emile Smith Rowe. And I never thought, Ralph, looking how he got, I think he got his breakout season under Unai Emery. Then he was loaned out to Huddersfield, but also had some injuries when he was loaned out there. So I'm thinking, I'm talking about Thomas Partey, persistently injured. We might think about having to sell him, but Emile Smith Rowe has to be in that conversation, Ralph. And again, I'm not saying that to be controversial, but I'm thinking, take out all the emotion. It is fact. Thomas Partey has had numerous injury issues since he left Atletico Madrid to come to Arsenal. Emile Smith Rowe is almost the same, Ralph. It's almost the same. I never thought I'd have been saying that.
There's a thing about what we always mention about protecting our youngsters. If we remember a couple of seasons back on this channel, we said, players are coming in, they're high-end products as well. And I said that how when I saw Emile Smith Rowe playing, without no shin pads, it looks like his socks are rolled down. And it reminds me of some of the players 70s. And I was thinking, this guy is he was like a breath of fresh air, And then it's coming to that critical point now where I can understand from your viewpoint that how long is too long before you start having to think about potentially selling him. I don't want to go along that kind of route. But when you was talking, it reminded me of two other players that Arsenal kind of kept with for the longest time. One is Jack Wilshere, of course, and the other one was Van Persie. And Van Persie, he was injured going towards the critical period of the team's phase, but we still kept faith in him until he decided to go and do one and join Man United, and then he won the Premiership with them. I'll never forget when he did say it was his dream. Now, boyhood dream to join Man United or boyhood dream to win the Premiership, I'm unclear. But when the player says that, and you've invested so much time into him, it kind of leaves a sour taste. But I still see some of the goals, and I still get excited when some goals that he scored. But then we've got another guy, Jack Wilshere, and Santiago Zola. There you go. There's top three. Santiago Zola. Where would we be if Santiago Zola was injured at the times when we needed him? Jack Wilshere, the same. He wasn't protected going into tackles. I remember Eltel actually on the channel. He said that how what we need somebody who can protect Jack Wilshere because he plays with that kind of freedom, but he needs to be protected. And to me, he's a talent gone too soon. Now he's doing his coaching badge and everything else. It's good that the way that he talks to the Arsenal youngsters and gives them that kind of motivated speech to tell them, and how to act and everything. But the kickback is that those players could have had really good players if we protected them. And with Thomas Partey, it's a different pace. The Spanish league to us. I keep saying this. We are 150 miles an hour. For all the flares, for all the flair and the excitement that the Premiership offers, it is hard going. And some of the players from abroad, they may not be, but in Arsenal's case, they're not used to it. And we found there's more medical history. I think, actually, we can probably fill a medical history journal for all players that ever came to us. I think we had done somewhere as a player. So we purchased. You know what I mean? Look at how the injury has impacted Arsenal within the last 50 years. It's a disaster. It really is a disaster. I don't know where we're going to go. I can understand from your view, can understand from maybe other fans that think, hang a minute now, you know what? We've been down this road before. Where's the cutoff? Where's the cutoff?
Yeah. Well, someone's just asked a question about Emile Smith Rowe. What's his status? So what I quickly did, I've just brought up, these are all his injury issues. Over the course of his career at Arsenal. So you can see 2018-19 season, bruised rib, which kept him out for 6 days. Again, 2018-19, a groin strain, 89 days. So he missed 6 games in that season. So that's 24 games in total in that one season. And then actually again, abductor problems, 2 days. Then the following season, groin injury kept him out for 2 days. Two games, and then another issue. 2019-20 season, a head injury. Actually, I remember that. I think that was wasn't a Europa League game, and I think Unai Emery was still the manager at that point. I missed 8 days and 2 games. Shoulder injury last season kept him out 43 days. He missed 8 games, Ralph. And then, last season, a knock, which kept him out for 1 day, and he didn't miss any matches for that. Quite extensive injury record there. It's heartbreaking, but you've got to. I mean, there can be no room for sentiment, Ralph, because at the end of the day, it's results-based business, isn't it? And whoever can't do the job for whatever reason will get somebody else who can do the job on a consistent basis. I mean, you talk about Santi Cazorla. Was it last week? Someone put up on Twitter his highlights. I was thinking, Santi Cazorla, the little magician, Ralph. Wilshire, little magician, but needed protection. Injuries like nobody's business. I don't know where we go from there.
So what you're saying? What are you saying? Are you saying to get rid?
What I'm saying is that we have to look seriously, at the training regime. Something is going on. Whether it's, we've spoken about this before. Is it the pitch? Is it the training regime that we have that's literally flaring up and affecting the players that we have? Or is it the fact that we've got players who come with a history of injuries, which means that we shouldn't really be, when it comes to recruiting, then we shouldn't be looking at players who have a history of injuries. Kieran Tierney came with a history of being injured. Came with that history. So where do we look at the cutoff point? Do we continue with these players? Or do we say, all right, we'll give it until a particular time in the future and say if it's not improved, then we have to seriously consider selling these players. They're assets, Ralph. No player can continue playing for Arsenal. For whatever reason, whether they get fed up of the life at Arsenal, or they think they can get better riches somewhere else, or more playing time somewhere else, or they have to retire. There's limited amount of reasons why a player eventually leaves Arsenal. No player can stay at Arsenal forever. But I'm looking at Kieran Tierney. I'm looking at Thomas Partey. I'm looking at Emile Smith Rowe. I'm thinking, injured. They're no use to us if they're always going to be on the physio's bench. Oh, I don't know, man. Anyway, are you hearing me, Ralph?
I'm not sure. Did you answer my question? I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Did I not answer your question?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah. Yeah, I said. So what do you think? I'm saying. So what are you saying? You said to get rid.
I'm saying that we have to give these players a certain time. Yeah, at a certain point in the future, whatever date it is in the future, if they're not able to overcome these injuries which are plaguing their career, we'll have to consider selling the players. Again, there can be no room for sentiments, Ralph. No room for sentiments. That's what I'm saying.
No, I understand that. I get that. I understand and I get it. And it's something that we spoke about on this channel many times. We say about looking at the player holistically. We say about making sure that they're in the right environment so they can thrive, and having people in the right places for them when certain things do go wrong. Because there's nothing worse than a player wanting to play but can't because he's injured or he's suspended or whatever the situation is with his contracts or whatever. But I think that maybe one of the key points is what is the cutoff point in terms of how long are we going to hold them? Are we going to have like a list of requirements of a player that we say you've got to be pretty much injury free for the amount of games coming per season. Unless they already look at that kind of situation already. I don't know. I don't have that kind of information at hand. What is the cut-off point? Like I said before, with Van Persie, we held off for so many times, and then he was leaving. With Jack Wilshere, I'm sure Jack Wilshere would want to put the boots on again, but it's a risk. Kieran Tierney, we know his history. A lovely young man, lots of prospects, but we knew his history, and yet we still get him. Thomas Partey, the list seems to be going on a little bit. So what, for me, I want to know what the cut-off point is, and in the future, what is the template? What's the template that we're going to say, right, these are the requirements that we want for Arsenal player, because they're going to train, they're going to play in places that is, it could be like Hackney Marshes one week, and it could be Wembley the next week. What is the criteria? I think that's what I'm trying to get at.
That we do our due diligence, Ralph. Last week I also featured Tomiyasu, and he had a list of injuries as well. So how can I say this? How can I frame this right? There must be some analytics, the measurements, the metrics, the kind of profile that we are looking for. What are the players we're looking for? Are you willing to take a chance on a young up-and-coming player, but unfortunately he does come with a history of being injured? Are you willing to forego that and take the risk? Or are you willing to go for a player that's he's up and coming, the bags of potential, but he doesn't have any history of being injured? What are the metrics? But I'm just thinking, but I'm being banging on about Thomas Partey. No use to us. He plays really good at beating the press, good at spreading the ball over the pitch across the midfield. But he doesn't do that when he's injured. You can't do that. It's impossible. If a player's injured on the fielders bench, he's not playing. He's no use to us. So I'm looking at Emile Smith Rowe, again injured. He's got the fight of his life on his hands, because you can't continue to have players, keeping faith with players who are always going to be injured at a critical point. When is the critical point, Ralph? The critical point is from the beginning of the season right until the end of the season. That is the critical point there. Can we get enough games out of Thomas Partey for this season? Can we get enough games out of Kieran Tierney, much less Emile Smith Rowe? It remains to be seen. What, 8 games in? 7 games in now?
This is about 8th game coming in now. Yeah.
8th game. Yeah. Anyway.
But you know what I reckon?
Guys,
I think we have to look at them, the diet, and maybe just get them some Western food to beef them up, because I don't know what they're eating. Maybe they're eating too much like food.
All right. Listen, let's go into the second segment. Just the first segment. The second segment, some comments from Raul Sanllehi. You remember him? He left under a cloud. Yeah, Raul Sanllehi has revealed mistake Arsenal have made with Mikel Arteta. I'm thinking, oh my goodness. Former Arsenal head of football, Raul Sanllehi, says the club have made a mistake in changing Mikel Arteta's role at the Emirates to the manager. The Spaniard, who left the Gunners shortly after Arteta's appointment in December 2019, with the club choosing to discard of Sanllehi during the pandemic. But he was instrumental in Arteta's appointment as a head coach to replace Unai Emery. An appointment was part of a new setup at the club that Raul Sanllehi had been working hard over the last 18 months. He wanted a new forward-thinking setup that allowed a head coach to focus primarily on the first team, an academy coach in Per Mertesacker, a director of football in Edu, and himself as head of football operations. Now, Arteta was made manager, which gave him more influence over the direction of the club and decisions made across the board, rather than just control the first team. But Sanllehi says that it was a mistake and the decision betrayed the club's model. He went on to say, they have betrayed the model a little bit now, he told The Athletic. By going back to the manager at the top, this is a mistake, but that is their mistake. I would have not allowed that to happen, but that's fine. It's working for them so far. Early in the interview, he had put forward his belief that the first team coach should focus solely on the first team. I do not agree when clubs call the first team coach manager. He said, first team coach is first team coach. That's enough. Nowadays, the workload is overwhelming and I need him to concentrate on the first team. Anything that distracts you from that is not your responsibility. Travel arrangements, the pitch, salary, budget, medical department. We will get other people to do that. The first team coach is short-term orientated. Just win tonight's game. Ralph, have Arsenal made a mistake by changing Arteta's role to manager?
Ah, jeez.
You want to take the Fifth Amendment on that, Ralph? Do you know what I'll say, Ralph? Do you know what I'll say before you go on? Is I understand what he's trying to say, because you look at Arsene Wenger, who stayed with us 20 odd years, and he had his finger in all the pies. And you didn't want us or Arsenal to make the same mistake by having one person controlling everything, every aspect of running a club. So I understand what Raul was trying to say there. You got a coach, just focus on the players. Win the game come Saturday, Monday, Thursday, whatever. You don't need to deal with the recruitment. You don't need to deal with the travel arrangements. We've got someone who can do it. So I understand what Raul was trying to say there, Ralph. But yeah, your thoughts. What's your thoughts, man?
Okay, so if we're going to go historically to how clubs were run, you have your manager, you have your owner, and then you got your board, and they will probably sit in a room, smoke-filled room, say, we want this manager to do this. The manager will have a number two, and the club will have some scouts. Everyone had a role. And then when you potentially have a maverick manager that can do maybe 2 or 3 roles to save the club money because he's effective at what he does, then the club turns to that kind of model until they have a lot more money and they say, actually, we can see that maybe you being a manager, you're taking on too much. So let's take the hassle off your shoulders. You just manage your team. We'll do the recruitment. You have the manager loses his number 2 because his number 2 won't unmatch because he knows the model. And he may be better than the manager that he was under previous. And he may have a whole team of people. He have physios, he have specialists, he have medicals, psychologists, all sorts. The game has gone, in essence, so diverse to a player playing to the player having X amount of people around him, the manager having a number 2, then all of a sudden he's got X amount of experts, because depending on his let's say ego, he can't see everything. He may think he can see everything, but as we say, it's good to have a number 2 because you need someone to hold you accountable. And if that works, the owner is all for it. If it doesn't work, the owner will be the first one to pull the plug. So whatever Raul Sanllehi has been saying, I guess he is kind of right. But I think he's kind of wrong as well, because I don't know if the guy still got a beef with Arsenal. it were, or whatever kind of situations that he wants to speak up from. You know, he was part of that process. He was part of that process to get Arteta in as well. Yeah. So let's not get that twisted. You know what I mean? It's like me saying, for example, all right, we've got El, great defender, but he's not doing his job. And then El sacks me. You know what I mean? Because I've spoken out of turn. You can't go backwards. You know, you've made your decision, and sometimes you have to keep it. You have to keep it. You have to keep it for what it is. You have to keep it for what it is. Okay. I don't know what kind of I suppose other motive that he may have. If it's something that he's still upset about or whatever, that's just the way it is. But the way that football has evolved from a manager managing, when you look at a manager, I believe the term manager is a manager in charge of personnel and resources, and he managed it to the point from that, and then the club profits from it, the team profits from it. But then he's also the first person you point when he gets it wrong.
But Ralph, I think it works.
Football has evolved so much. The managerial position has evolved so much. It is what it is.
But I think that model would work in the lower leagues. Again, I don't want to disdain the lower leagues, but at ground roots level, right up until maybe semi-professional, I think it works well when you've got a manager who probably would need to know about the recruitment, about the finances, the travel arrangements, the medical issues. But when it comes to a club like Arsenal, a massive club like Arsenal, surely you would have people in designated positions to deal with the recruitment, to deal with the medical issues, to deal with the stuff there. So the manager doesn't have to deal with those issues there. So I think Raul is right. We don't want to be in the same position we were with Arsene Wenger. Again, the guy literally dealing with everything. Yes, no, and about recruitment, about the finances, about the stadium, and this, that, and the other. Just focus on the team. Nothing more, nothing less. Because we have enough people in key areas to deal with that. So you don't.
I was going to say, all right. So, okay. Question: do you think then that because Arsene, we always say it's a game of two Arsene. The first 10 years, he had David Dean. He had people around him that helped him, and then the second 10 years after that, that's when it started going to the pan, as it were, because we had a new stadium, finances, and all that kind of thing. Do you think that Arsene took too much on?
Yeah, he did, and I think that the cog in the wheel. But it's down to the board,
isn't it? Whose fault is it?
It's down to the board. It was down to the board, and he protected the board.
If you remember that the clatter at the time was Arsene was protecting the board. The board wasn't protecting him, and he was the full guy. In the end, as much as he protected them, he ended up being the full guy.
But that's down to Arsene Wenger. That's down to Arsene Wenger. If you're trying to protect the club and your paymasters, but yet they're not supporting you, that's down to you. You put yourself front and center, knowing fully well the board are not supporting you. That was down to Arsene Wenger. But what I was going to say is, I think when David Dean left, Ralph, there was a massive void that even until this day has not been filled. David Dean was like a father figure to the players. David Dean talking about Rocky Rocastle. It was like a son to him. Going into the changing room, speaking to the players before the match, and go in there speaking to the players after the match. We don't have someone like that. A father figure, being the link between the board and the owner, and the players and the manager. That was the one cog in the wheel that Arsene Wenger missed when David Dein eventually left Arsenal. So, Arsene Wenger, a person controlling the club with everything, it's just too much. And it's too much power. I wouldn't want to see that again for Arsenal, Ralph. But I think Raul maybe has an axe to grind with Arsenal. But I understand what he's trying to say. The coach should only, it says it in the title, coach. Doesn't say manage the club. Coach. I don't know. Do you want to say anything else, Ralph, before we move on to the last segment?
You also you said how yeah, I'm just gonna say there might be a bit of a delay, I think. I was gonna say, so you said that how Arsene had too much power, but then Kroenke,
he owns the club,
hold him accountable.
He owns the club 100%. Kroenke,
he could invariably run the club down to the ground. Who's going to say to him?
Of course he could
stand up and say to him. Who's going to stand up and say to him, "Hang on"? Like, it could be his son, although I doubt it. I think that's that kind of relationship. We don't know about that. But who's going to be close enough to him to say, "Hang on a minute now, what your decisions are wrong"? It goes the same way.
Nobody. But Ralph, it's not comparable. That's not comparable because Silent Stan owns the club. KSE owns the club 100%. But a manager doesn't own a club. He just manages certain aspects of the club. So it's not comparable, Ralph. No one can tell Stan Kroenke. No one can tell him what to do about Arsenal. Arsenal Supporters Trust cannot tell him what to do. They can advise him. You can have an advisory board with fan representation just to get their opinion. But it doesn't mean you have to listen to them because they own Arsenal 100%, Ralph. So it's not comparable. It's not comparable. Did that answer your question?
No.
All right, okay, Ralph. Can we move on?
Yeah, come on then, let's move on.
Yeah, all right. And the last news segment, let's just something about a North London derby, man. Saturday, 12:30 p.m. UK time. Arsenal against the old enemy. Yeah, my goodness. Actually, on the show last night, the big Sunday show, I saw some predictions going there. You know what, Ralph? I'm going to go for a draw, man. I'm going to go for a draw.
For a draw?
Yeah, 2-2 draw, man. 2-2.
2-2.
Yeah. Oh, Ralph's thinking about it now. Go on, Ralph. Your thoughts, then, man?
I can't be having them come to our ground and we draw with them.
Yeah, I'm not saying I want to draw. Yeah, go on.
No, I know. I hate to admit it. This. I mean, they're currently on form at the moment, and Kane's left his boots for England. And he probably got a point to prove. If I want to keep him, I want us to keep him and Son quiet. I want us to keep all of them quiet. To be honest, I want them to just show up and just roll over. That's what I want. But the women's done fantastic, and the youngsters as well.
Yeah.
If we could
us the way to go.
Do that. I'll tell you what. Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Well,
You know what?
for my go on.
No, go on. Finish off what you're going to say so we can go into the
Okay.
live chat. Go on, finish off, man.
Yeah. I was going to say that I'll be doing the watch along. You know, it'd be my. I think it's my. Actually, it's my. Is it my first? I think it's my first North London derby.
Yeah,
I've done
I think it is.
I don't think I've done a North London derby.
Yeah,
So,
it is your first. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ralph,
We'll
good
see.
question. Are you going to be watching the game? Are you going to be watching the game tonight? England versus Germany, yeah?
I'll probably second half. I've got another video to do, so I'll catch the second half.
Don't waste your time, man. Don't waste your time.
No.
Come on, Colombia.
Qualify for the World Cup.
Nah, behave, man. Behave yourself.
No, I've been serious. I'm going to qualify.
No.
So who you going to support next then?
France, man.
France.
And then Holland.
It's not a bad shout, actually.
And then Spain.
Anyone else?
Oh dear. Ralph, let's go into the live chat, man. Let's go into the live chat.
Let's go.
All right. So we've got the English Conversation Club. It says the brothers. English Conversation Club. Thank you for the donation. £50 donation yesterday on the big Sunday show. So thank you for that.
Oh, fantastic.
50 quid.
Fantastic.
Thank you for that. Yeah. Kwame says, what is the situation, Emile Smith Rowe? Well, we've just spoken about that. Yeah. He's in a fight, man. In a fight. Got to, recapture that spot there. Number 10. He wears a number 10. He wears a number 10, man. He's got a fight in his hands. Fight in his hands. It seems like our club is a hospital. God. Oh dear. Oh, goodness gracious me. Dixon Peter. Dixon, it's been a long time. Good evening from my end in Liberia. John Nagisa, good evening, Gurus. I hope Emile Smith Rowe can pull through this mentally and physically. Yeah, completely agree. With all technology, we can't find no solution. Tell me that. I don't know what the solution is, man.
It's about.
I think, like we said, we've got to look seriously about the recruitment. Do diligence, which means do your homework on the player. Yeah, if there are flags like the injury history, stay well clear. Stay well clear of those kind of players. But then it's I think it's easier to say that because you look at the history of Thomas Partey. He never had a history like that, injury history, before he came to Arsenal. And now he's at Arsenal. I mean, you might end up calling him Sick Note. You remember that player, that Tottenham player? You used to call him Sick Note. I mean, Thomas Partey, you don't want that name, man. You don't want that name being called Sick Note. You know what I mean? John says, club over country for me these days.
Stay with.
Yeah. Sick Note, man. There's a delay on your side, Ralph. Partey needs to look at his diet. Him too brittle. Him too brittle, really. Partey, Tierney, and Smith, they are made of glass.
Yeah, there is.
John Nagisa. Smith Rowe, numerous injuries. What is injury status? Well, I've already given you that. They need more fruit, vegetables in their diet. Too much red meat. God, dearie me. Loving the new graphics underneath, like the old teleprinter. All right, yeah. Thanks for that, John Nagisa. Kwame,
Wow.
They need.
It sounds like he knows his stuff.
Yeah. Yep. If your if your engine goes on your motor, you scrap it just like the players. Harsh, but true. Oh,
Yeah.
man. Same thing that applies to Gabriel Martinelli. He's also an injury-prone player. It's a matter of time. Let's wait for it. It's coming for him. Oh, my goodness. Peter Moby, you are right. Arsenal overplayed certain players last season, ran them into the ground. And last but not least, Ramsdale and Saka on the bench tonight, along with Tony. Somebody! Ralph, any closing thoughts before we finish?
Well, first and foremost, like I said, I'll be doing the watch along for my sins, as it were. It's going to be a massive match, and we're going to it. Fingers crossed, touch wood. All guns blazing. We're at home, and we just got to turn up. We've got to turn. I feel actually what we should do, or what Arteta should do. He played them the last match when we was at their end, because then there were some key moments that there's need to be aware of. The Song, and the second is Kane. Anybody else? I mean, they one or two good players there, but you just got to nullify them. We're at home. I think the crowds will definitely raise the temperature up a few notches as well. They've been great home and away, the fans. They act as our 12th man, but it's the players on the day. Arteta's got to get the team selection right, and then from the first whistle until the last whistle could be 90th, 95th, 98th, 110th minute is, because it's an North London derby. Just go at them. You're at home. That's what I can say. You're at home, go at them. And when you take the opportunity. Don't think, we try and play it off or give them, some mileage and wait to attack them when they come into our half. No quarter. And if your player goes down by them, have a word at the referee. We're too soft in that area. Have a word at the referee, because then the referee will have to start issuing some yellow cards. Or he may not, depending on who we get. We probably get some referee, because I haven't had too many of them who to protect our players. But if we go down, the team has to have a good look and tell give the referee and the officials some. And who knows, we might get something from VAR. I never counted. No. Put the ball in the back of the net as often as you can, and then let them go back to where they come from. So that's my rally call, as it were. But that's me.
So that's it. That's it, people. So that's the Monday Evening Show done and dusted. Smith Rowe, man. We got to work, and you got more work. Yeah, got to fight. Raul Sanllehi, I don't know, talking about the title given to Mikel Arteta, kind of broke all the rules of what he was trying to build at Arsenal and the North London derby. I hope to be at the stadium come the Saturday, because I think we've got a contributor who's traveling all the way from the States to come over, not only to meet me, but is traveling over to be at the North London derby. So I hope to be at the stadium outside, going live and direct from the Emirates. The next time you'll see me will be tomorrow evening, giving some more live news. And Ralph, thank you for coming back on, man. Thank you indeed.
No problem, bro. No problem.
Yeah.
Catch you on the bounce. And thanks, guys.
Brilliant.
It's been a pleasure, and good to see the comments come in as well.
Until then, this has been Cannon Fodder, the channel for Arsenal fans all over this world.